An old Sama tale goes something like this. An elder widower found a sea turtle and he brought it home to care for it. After a while, the turtle transformed into a beautiful lady and started to care for him. He took her as his wife, and from the union, a crying child was born. Out of frustration, the man called his child the son of a turtle who is always crying. His wife got angry and told him that if he loses his temper again, she will leave and transform back into a turtle. He wasn't able to control his anger, and eventually the wife left. Now each time the child is hungry, he needs to bring his son to the coral reef so that his mom can feed him. The Sulu Archipelago is a group of islands in the south of the Philippines which don't have the best reputation. Tawi-Tawi is the last province of the country and is actually closer to Malaysia than it is to any other province. Just take a look at this map. It consists of 11 municipalities and many beautiful untouched islands. Are to change their image and showcase their culture.
Well, I think the stigma is a lot of people still think it's not safe, right?
Yes, but Tawi-Tawi is easy to say. When Ma'am Gina said it's safer.
It's safe, yeah.
Place in Metro Manila.
Everyone I asked, they were telling me, they were saying, "Are you sure?" and everything. I was like, but everyone I've talked to said it was very safe.
At least in this place, because we are surrounded by government enforcers.
Yeah. So it's still highly militarized.
But the military is friendly.
Of course, of course.
Their presence, unlike in other places, once presence of military connotes something.
Yeah.
But in here, it's okay.
I heard, there was a saying where they said all the peace-loving people came to Tawi-Tawi.
As we didn't have much time in the region, we focused on Simunul and Sangay Quiapo Island, but there are so many more to see.
Alright, so currently on our way to Simunul Island, and we're riding a really cool reconstructed lepa. When the Sama Bajaos were mostly nomadic people, they would do absolutely everything on these kinds of boats, from eating to sleeping. I think it's a really kind of cool and important cultural, historical thing to know. Quick 45-minute boat ride just across where you can see Bongao Island over there. Simunul is behind me where we're going to be staying overnight. And this small island, forgot the name, I'll say it later. What I'm really excited about is two things actually. The food that's about to come out, and they're not cooking it here, they're bringing it from Bongao. They prepared apparently a feast, the mayor put this together. And it's probably going to be extremely scrumptious. And after that, we're going to go diving. And diving here is said to be super pristine. They kind of crack down on dynamite fishing, and now it's just, the coral reefs and everything have life. And always there's going to be that balance between the good and the bad. But apparently here it's absolutely beautiful.
Tayo ngayon sa Sangay Quiapo Island.
That's the name
which
of the
is
island.
Here in Simunul, Tawi-Tawi. We prepared a lot of food like simantis. Locally, we call it kamut. We have also the sea urchin, lapu-lapu, then kilawin.
Yes.
Yellow pin na kilawin. So we have also the blue crabs here. And also, we call this one kutambak locally. I don't know what is that they call it in English. We have also locally we call it sambal guling.
This is made out of?
This is made of shrimp paste and also dilis. Then we have also the mi goreng. This is actually the staple food of the Bajao. Yeah.
Ice candy?
No, we call it
It looks like ice candy.
We call it puto.
Can I try it?
Made of
yellow cherry.
cassava.
Ah, okay.
Yellow cassava.
It looks like ice candy.
So it match with.
Oh, it's sour.
Yeah, if you want to eat this one, it should be the perfect
I eat it with
match.
that, okay.
Yeah.
I'll do that later.
match.
I don't know, I'm just excited to eat now.
Okay. We can start.
Okay, I am absolutely starving, so I'm gonna dig right in. I'm gonna try first the sea urchin. It's a strange color. If you kind of take a look at that, it's like reddish brown. It's like stewed, I want to say, but it retains kind of its texture. Try the mee goreng, which is basically kind of like a local version of pancit, or mee goreng from Malaysia. Quite nice. What do you expect? Whoa. Like the spice level on that is pretty good. I'm actually liking this. If all the food's gonna be spicy while we're here, it makes me happy, man. Kilo Win, pretty standard. Nice and fresh, actually sweeter than what I would expect. So they probably add some sugar in there. Then we have the fish that they were talking about a while ago. Not quite sure still what it is. Very meaty, lots of texture. And finally, we have the crab. Not as spicy as I expected it to be, but quite nice. And it's cool, it's completely full. I'm gonna dig into that later. But what we're all here for is for the sea mantis. So it's kind of like a cross of a lobster and a shrimp. Sorry, the smoke's hitting my eyes. But that flavor is so good. I actually think it tastes more like a lobster than it does a shrimp. If this is the start of the food that we're gonna get in the region, I'm gonna do this with my eyes closed. It's gonna be delicious and I'm gonna be really happy. So we just got off the boat. Sea legs are kind of like still there, still a little dizzy, but we're now in Simunul Island where we'll be staying in some houses here in town. And then tomorrow there's just like a whole day of activities planned. So yeah, I'm pretty excited. Pretty tired, pretty excited.
The area is mostly inhabited by the Sama people, and I use this term in a very general way, as there are lots of various subgroups with their own distinct languages. Usually, people will identify themselves as Sama, followed by the island they are from. They not only live in the Sulu archipelago, but can be found in Sabah, Malaysia, or in Indonesia. From our discussions, there are two main groups. The Sama Dilau, which are sea nomads who used to live primarily at sea on wooden ships, who now build their houses on stilts. And the second group are the Sama Dea. Dea meaning inland. However, it's best to ask the person you're talking to which group they associate themselves with. The term Bajau seems to stem confusion and tension, so I personally don't use it.
They found a big boy, about 50 kilos, 60 kilos, but it took them 2 days to do it, so like a long overnight over at the Celebes Sea, and it's a big one. That's impressive.
Very unique from the rest of the Philippines, people here are primarily Muslim mixed in with their traditional beliefs. When the rest of the country was being taken over by the Spanish, this area held up longer. The island of Simunul is actually home to the oldest mosque in the Philippines, constructed in 1380. So these are the actual original pillars from that mosque, all the way from the 1300s, which is pretty impressive. And then the mosque itself has been renovated about 4 times already. The people here live close to the sea, and many of their myths and tales are centered around the ocean. Being part of the Coral Triangle, Tawi-Tawi is one of the global centers of biodiversity. So we suited up to see this for ourselves.
Okay, this is the dive spot.
Wrapped around your fingers, even when I couldn't help you. Shelter from all fear we knew we never had. When I saw your eyes tell the story, words were meaningless.
Fishing and seaweed farming are the main sources of revenue. After a quick little nap, we headed to explore the rest of Simunul on some bamboo bikes.
All right, so we're currently riding the BAM bikes made by Brian here behind me. They're made in partnership with Gawad Kalinga, which is really cool. All of this is made from bamboo and obviously just some steel and stuff, right?
Yeah, abaca from Bicol to bind the joints and act as like a natural carbon fiber.
Nice. And so what are the bikes doing here?
So here in Tawi-Tawi, we're working with the I Love Foundation to try and create sustainable livelihood for the people through BAM Bike Eco Tours. So creating bike routes to the far-flung destinations so that you can kind of explore and not need to burn gasoline wherever you're going and just be able to enjoy the ride and the natural beauty of the place.
Nice. And Gina's teaching us that she's still got it.
This area being very remote, life is very different from what you might expect. Trash, water, livelihood, and electricity can be quite difficult. We were accompanied in this trip by Elak Diaz, who runs Litters of Light, a company that helps isolated communities set up low-maintenance solar lights. This just shows that tourism could benefit this area greatly, however it has to be done right, progressively, and in coordination with local customs.
So do you want World War or Legend?
I want Legend 2, that's my name.
There you go.
Alright, so we managed to convince the fishermen, because we saw them racing in these little speedboats a while ago made out of wood, and we managed to convince them to lend us their speedboat so that we can race against each other. This was actually Brian's idea. This is his idea.
We're gonna make this happen. Rubbings Racing. Rock and roll.
It's a terrible idea. Peace out, guys. I'm winning. I'm having engine problems. So I clearly lost that race, all 4 races. My boat was called Legend 2 and we had 2 epic engine failures.
How does it feel to be the winner? Do you want to thank anyone?
Speedy, call me Speedy de la Tawi-Tawi Gonzalez.
What was your boat name?
Legend.
You were I was Legend 2.
Really?
And I had 2 engine breakdowns.
Well, some people try to be legends and some are just the original.
Tired and inspired, we top-loaded the speedboat under the stars on our way back to Bongao.
3 magical days. I've been wanting to go to Tawi-Tawi for the longest time and it really did not disappoint in terms of expectations versus reality. It's really its own place. It feels like its own country. It has its own cultural norms, its own food. It's such a special island, it's such a special province that I wish more people would be able to experience. I get the stigma of fear and I get the stigma of security, and they just seem to be in a very not the ideal location, especially because they're next to islands that are known for heavy conflicts. But everyone I met here said that it was super peaceful and super safe, and we never felt unsafe in everything that we did. So hopefully that opens up a little bit. You really feel like what's great is the cultural heritage is so strong. People live the way they've been living for years and years, but you also do feel like there's a need for people to live slightly more comfortable lives and be able to have more revenue in a more sustainable way. Because with the fishermen, it was up and down all the time. They have to go further. So there's also a situation where you do feel like the communities could benefit from tourism, and I really hope that the tourism that does happen is a sustainable one, where it's slow, takes its time, and really respects the local environment, the local culture, has a strong educational aspect to it, where people can really take care of the land and appreciate it for what it is, and also the locals can learn to really appreciate their land and be proud of it, because I think that's the most important thing.